So Nick, we're here talking about WrestleMania 21. The game has gone from a Japanese developer to an American developer. How did that come about?
Well, it's actually a very exciting story. You know, with Raw 2, we weren't entirely happy with the way that the product turned out, so we wanted to look at different options. So we looked at, what are the available North American developers, somebody who's closer to us so that we can have a much closer working relationship. And we found Studio Gigante, who had experience with fighting games, who were very excited to work on a wrestling game, and so it was a natural partnership from that point forward.
So going with a Western developer, you kind of avoid the trappings that Japanese developers have. They pretty much develop wrestling games pretty much one way. There's like the Yuke's way, the Aki way. What is Studio Gigante bringing to the table?
Well, with this game, we got to build it from scratch, so there's no legacy code. We didn't have to deal with any of the problems that inherently had been in the games from the past. So what we did was we first looked at, okay, here are all the different wrestling and fighting and boxing games that have been built. What are the things that fans really love about these games? Where have they been successful and where have they failed? From that point forward, we were able to identify, okay, this is what this game needs to have. So we took, little successes from here, little successes from there, some new ideas that we had that we wanted to try out, and that's kind of how we put together the whole gameplay system for this product.
The game has several elements that wrestling fans will be familiar with, like the paper doll. How does that work with location-based damage?
Everything that you'll see in our game, for the most part, has some tie into what you either see on programming or have experienced in another game. The location-based damage system, very similar to what other products have done. It's what you would expect from programming. You work a certain body part, and that has an effect when it comes down to the submission meter. The more damaged somebody is, the easier it is for them to submit. The grappling system, it's a system that pulls from a couple different products in terms of two-button grapple system, but multiple different types of grapple. So we're able to deliver the two-button grapple system that people really, really like. At that point, we said, okay, you know what? Reversing, key part of the game. A lot of the other games have had good reversal systems, but they haven't been all that deep. So we looked at in the past, you were able to block a strike and you were able to block a grapple when you were first initiating it. But once you were in there, you weren't able to do anything beyond that. So what we've done for this product is allowed the sort of the novice user to continue with that system where they can block a strike or block a grapple, but we've expanded that to be a lot deeper. And by that I mean every move in the game has a corresponding reversal move. So if you're playing on beginner, you'll actually see a little window of opportunity shown graphically where you need to press your grapple reverse button. And if it's a power bomb, when you're lifting the guy up, there'll be a point where you need to select that. And at that point, for example, out of a power bomb, you'll be able to DDT your opponent. So each move has a different counter move, which is really, really exciting.
Is it THQ policy that you're not allowed to drink on camera? What's up here? Because I feel like I'm the only one drinking.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's talk about the graphics for a bit. I mean, the game looks amazing already. The details, the animations look great, and the crowd is probably one of the best I've seen in any game. What are some of the tricks that Studio Gigante is using?
Well, one of the great things about Xbox is it allows us the capabilities to build, fantastic models. Studio Gigante has brought several strengths to the table. Their art team is a phenomenal art team. And we've been, super excited with the quality of the models that they've been able to deliver. We talked to Microsoft when we put in our product for first looks, and they were amazed at the quality of the models. We put those models up against any of the other fighting or wrestling games on Xbox because they're that good. So fans will be really, really stoked about that. The environments, we've taken a lot of care in really ensuring that each of the environments matched how it was portrayed on real life. So Armageddon, it's an environment that involves a lot of fire, a lot of yellows and oranges. Whereas if you go with something like Bad Blood, which is white and reds, you really notice that, the spotlights we use, the hues on the crowds, the logos from the spotlights that we have over the crowd are all very much the whites and the reds and really differentiate that environment to be very, very unique.
So in addition to those themed shows that you mentioned, like the different pay-per-views, what kind of specialty matches will there be in the game?
every specialty match that you could imagine of. One of the things when delivering a wrestling product is everything that's there on programming has to be there in the game. So even though we're building this game from the ground up, every single one of the match types you'd expect to have will be available.
So you'll have TLC matches,
Absolutely.
Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
How about Elimination Chamber? Can you even do that?
Yes, Elimination Chamber will be available in the game.
That one must be crazy. I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, Elimination Chamber is actually one of our favorites on the dev team.
And this one, you guys will definitely want Braun Panties.
Braun Panties. Braun Panties has to be available. Yes. It's a staple of the WWE. Since this is our first version, that's really the focal match type for the women, but you can expect that moving forward, there'll be more match types for the women.
There are big online plans for this game. Can you talk about those for a bit?
Absolutely. We're really, really excited about online. You know, with SmackDown vs. Raw on the PS2, it was the first wrestling game to go online, but we weren't able to get all the match types that we wanted online. We weren't able to get multiple player like we had hoped for. Xbox, you know, we're defining what an online experience should be. Multiplayer support, all the match types, and one of the really cool things is the whole create a championship. So you can create your own belt on your Xbox, and as you play through the game and you earn your money, you can add more bling bling to your belt, build it up however you want. But at that point, you can then take it online. And the whole purpose behind taking it online, not only to showcase it out to everybody who's online, but you also build prestige value. So whenever you put your title up for a match, if you win, it increases your prestige value. So you can see who have the belts, which online users have the belts that matter the most.
So you can go after, like, it's the Xbox Live equivalent of the Triple H, and he'll have
Absolutely.
the Ultimate belt. And then you'll have some of the guys who aren't as good. Maybe they're like the Ring of Honor champions, little scorpy guys like Austin Aries. Sorry, Dan.
There'll be belts that matter to everybody, you know,
Cool.
and that's the really cool thing. Whether I'm a beginner or an intermediate player or an expert, you know, there's going to be a group of belts that really matter to me that have a certain prestige value within that particular group. So, you know, everybody has that chance to compete for the championships.
What features of the game are you most excited about?
You know, there are a lot of features. The whole animation system is one that we're really, really excited about because it's fully motion captured for the first time in our wrestling game. We did, you know, probably close to 7 months of motion capture. Not every day, obviously, but every month we were shooting.
Were 6 months spent on just the divas?
No, but the divas were definitely a very enjoyable part of the motion capture. It's funny, when we were motion capturing all the superstars, we had many fewer people than when it was actually time for divas. People we didn't even know worked for THQ were out watching those motion capture sessions.
Well, Stacy's legs are quite a draw, huh?
Yes, they are. One of the things that we also focused on were the reactions. So in wrestling, you know, the moves are only as impactful as how much somebody sells that move.
Right.
So we spent several sessions just capturing, you know, based on who the opponent is, whether he's a small guy, a big guy, or a medium guy, how much damage you've taken, and what the move is to what body part, what type of reaction you'll get. So you'll see a reaction for a body slam when you're healthy is a lot different than a reaction for a body slam later in the match when you're really broken down.
Or you could be like the Undertaker and not sell anything.
Exactly, and you'll actually see that. So if you're in the game, you'll see the Undertaker, no sell. Kane does the same thing at times. So you will see that.
You spend a lot of time on the game's AI trying to make the wrestlers behave like they do on TV. How does that work?
The whole idea there was we wanted not only to bring out the characters, the personalities like you'd see on television, but also, excuse me, but also make it so that when you play against the AI, it's just like playing against a human opponent. So really analyze each of the different wrestlers and, you know, their mannerisms, what they do on TV, but also, you know, what an AI opponent needs to do in order to act more like a human opponent. You know, when he should attack, what his aggressiveness is like, how he reacts to certain moves, how he mixes up his different moves. So there's that component. Then there's the actual, okay, personality traits. Is this a superstar that throws people out of the ring and waits for them, or does he actually go out in the ring, you know, attack them, then throw them back in the ring? How does he interface with the referee? You know, beyond just his moves, what are the other things he does? Does he taunt after particular moves? Does he string certain moves together? We really made sure that, you know, we understood each wrestler and tried to bring out as much personality as we possibly could.
Do you have a favorite wrestler in the game right now?
Absolutely, Batista. Batista's been, one of my favorites. Even before he started getting popular with the crowd, given his fresh storyline. Yeah, he's definitely over. He's always been a favorite just because of his sheer size and presence.
Watch this.
Uh-oh.
Can you make Shawn Michaels the best wrestler in the game?
Why do you want Shawn Michaels as the best wrestler?
I believed in the boyhood dream. He's a favorite of mine.
Really?
Yes.
What is it that draws you to Shawn Michaels?
I think he comes from that old Ricky Morton school of selling moves. So, like when I watch Shawn's matches, I believe he's getting his ass kicked, and then when he comes back, then I'm all charged up about it.
So were you a fan of Shawn more so when he was a rocker, or now?
You know, this is a funny story. Nothing to do with the game. I always thought Jannetty was the better one of the two. I always thought like Shawn was this other rocker that Jannetty was carrying. I was like, this guy's never going to go anywhere. Why is Jannetty carrying this bump?
Do you remember Jannetty's finishing move?
No, I don't.
Nor do I. I just wanted
See?
to know if you did.
Yeah, and I thought, but I remember the super kick, remember the elbow off the top rope.
That was actually back then. Shawn used the elbow off the top rope
Yeah.
as his finishing move. There was no super kick at that time. It's in his old age that now he needs to use a super kick.
Well, the Rockers used to do a double super kick.
Mm.
I don't know if they did it in WWE, but they did it in AWA way back.
That's way old school. I'm impressed. I don't remember the double super kick.
Oh, yeah, that's when they were young pups. But cool, the game's looking great. If you could sum it up in a couple words, why should people be excited about WrestleMania?
You know, it's a game that's been built absolutely from scratch, that's taken the best of other games that fans have loved, but also mixed in a lot of fresh new things that people haven't experienced. Each individual area of the game has got some fantastic things, whether it's models or animation. We're really excited, and we look forward to hearing what fans think about this game.
Cool, well, it sounds awesome. Looks great, good luck. Give
Thank
me my
you very
20
much.
bucks back if you're not making Shawn the best.
First, we arm wrestle for that 20.
Okay, you have to cut it for that one.